Hello, thank you for having me, Robert.
We're going to take just a few minutes to let people come in and sign on. But as way of introduction, we believe at Your Backyard that everything you need, Raleigh, is right here in Raleigh. And today I will be speaking again with Dr. Susan Lovelle, who is a MD and uh, 22 years in private practice, new to the area, but has changed her practice a little bit. I believe now, Dr. Liddell, the term is functional medicine.
Yes, yes, functional medicine. In other words, looking for the root cause of what's going on versus just treating a condition.
Right. So it's a more holistic, a lot more time and much broader scope in your practice.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate having you, particularly as we are quarantined and the governor and the mayor and maybe the president is telling us all to stay home. It's very scary times. And even though we try to take it with a grain of salt and a good sense of humor, I think it's having an effect on all of us. So thank you for joining us and providing a little ray of sunshine and intelligence and wisdom. So thank you.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about the new trends going on with the COVID-19?
Yes. So one of the biggest things is that for the first time, you may have read that the United States is actually has the highest number of cases in the world. And I think, blame or no blame, perhaps, but what it means at this point is that we have to start taking this very seriously and we need to self quarantine, all of the things that have been recommended. That's one of the biggest ones. Another thing was that initially it was thought that when you had gastrointestinal things like diarrhea or nausea or vomiting, things like that, and you also, number one, that it was rare with COVID 19. But now what we're finding is that it's not as rare as it was thought to be, number one. And number two, if you do present with that versus the pulmonary, that you're actually more likely to have a more severe course. So we're now starting
Oh,
much more significantly at the GI when someone presents that way.
and I think you were saying it's because the GI is one of your basic defenses and health systems that you have, right?
Absolutely. 70 to 80% of your immune system is actually in your gut. So if you think about it, if your gut is disrupted, you've lost that whole first line of defense.
And COVID-19 is particularly is the gut, any pre-existing condition, it seems, that has a major health effect, right?
Right. So the two big populations that are being most affected, at least with the more severe cases, are number one, if you're 60, 65 and older, and we really can't do anything about getting older. But the other end are those with chronic conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, obesity. These are the ones that are also being adversely affected. But the good news is that these are also the things that we can do something about.
Um, I see that missing a lot of these people that don't quarantine or that are still out there. They feel healthy and they think if they get it, they're going to be fine, but they don't realize that there's probably five or six people in their immediate sphere who have a pre-existing condition such as this.
Exactly. And there was a not funny, there was a scary kind of graphic that they had down. They started in Florida, a few weeks ago was spring break. And
Right.
what they did was they actually tracked where phones went. And so they had a little cluster in Florida, which was, what you expected. And then over the course of the next 24, 48 hours, it literally spread across the country and even outside of the country.
Wow.
So, this is disease vectors actually spreading across the country. As you mentioned, the person themselves might not be affected. But they may be a carrier and bringing it to someone who is at risk, who is more at risk.
So number one you can do is protect your immune system. I mean, protect yourself, and if you can fight the virus, then you're less likely to carry it somewhere else, right?
Right. So, in other words, I look at it two ways. You want to boost your immune system for two reasons. One is so that you don't get it in the first place, if possible. And then, if number two, if you do, then that you would have a milder case, that you wouldn't have a severe reaction to it.
Um, well, there's a lot of fear of the virus. I see people maybe going to extreme. It's hard to know. How long can the virus live outside of a host? I mean, do we need to be, is it lurking for weeks or how does that work?
Well, we're still doing testing, but a lot of it depends on the surface itself. So the harder the surface, the longer it's more likely to stay there. So things like countertops, doorknobs, like that. And so these
Cell
are
phone?
cell phones, exactly. So, clean your cell phone off. I was actually watching, there was on YouTube, believe it or not, there was a physician who was telling you how to actually clean your fruits and vegetables when you come back from the grocery store. And, looking at it, you initially think, because he literally took even bags out of the cereal box.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that one? And you may, the first instinct is to say, wow, that's kind of overkill. But the infectivity of this virus is higher than, 3 times higher than it is with the flu. And so maybe it's not all that out there. Maybe we really need to start looking at how we're treating everything. But at the very least, wipe down your surfaces. When you come inside, wash your hands, change your clothes. Don't track your stuff all around your house.
Um, Bleach wipes work. Purell works. These right sanitizers. I mean, it's not a super virus. These things that destroy viruses destroy corona. So
Exactly. And if you're doing the do it yourself, the main thing in the do it yourself work as well, the main thing that you want to do is to make sure that you're starting with a high enough percentage of alcohol so that when you dilute it with your gel or whatever you're going to dilute it with, that you still have, something that reaches that threshold.
right, do it right if you're going to do it yourself.
If you're going to do it right.
How has this affected your practice, Dr. Lovelle?
Well, for one, I've gone completely virtual, so I'm seeing all the practice members and everything virtually, which is a good thing. This means I can work with anyone, whether they're here in the triangle or they're around the country. It doesn't really matter. And the other thing is that because of not only my practice members, but because I want to get the information and the inspiration out to as many people as possible, I've even put together a 21-day boosting program, which looks at, what you're eating, how you're moving around, how you're sleeping, all of these things put into 21 days.
I think I've seen one or two of them. You're posting those. How would everyone else find those?
Well, I'm actually that's actually 30 days. That's called 30. Thank you for reminding me. 30 days of health and hope. And I did that because, I'll be totally honest. I was struggling a little bit in the beginning as well with my thoughts and like what's going to happen. And so it came to me that I wanted to share this sort of inspiration, just knowledge. And so on Facebook and also on YouTube, it's 30 days of health and hope and just little tidbits, health nuggets, and inspiration. The other
That's
thing,
what I'm watching.
right,
Yeah.
that's what you're watching. The 21-day program is actually more medically oriented, and it's something that someone could do online for themselves, teaching them what to eat, what supplements they might want to take. So it's a little more medically oriented as opposed to the 30 days, which is going through those things, but a little more general.
Well, I know that the immune boost is very, very important. And I'm glad you reviewed that with us. Are you hearing any particular fears or concerns from your patients other than just the general? Is there any particular feedback or concerns you would like to share with the rest of Raleigh?
Yeah. I think the main fear is that it's so uncertain. We don't know. We just heard from our governor, as you mentioned, the governor and our president, that we're going to be extending this for at least until the end of April. And we just don't know. Is the end of April it? Is it going to be further? And so that fear and kind of holding on is sort of rampant right now. And what I tend to be more of an optimist. So once I get past that first little stage of whoa, then I look at the more optimistic thing. And I know that nothing has ever lasted forever, whether it was good or bad. And so that's that I'm really trying to share with people, that it will come to an end at some point. And the best thing that we can do is take this time that's been literally enforced upon us. Take this time to grow ourselves, both in our health, our wellness, and our lives.
Well, that's a conversation I had with one of my health providers, and they said, Robert, how do you want to come out of this quarantine? You want to be an Adonis or do you want to be a marshmallow? So it's
Exactly. Exactly.
more likely the marshmallow than ever an Adonis, but I found that to been doing a lot, boosting my immune, like you have suggested, and getting out once a day to just get out in the sun and exercise. Where now I have that time, and when I was up at the office all the time, I didn't feel like I had all that time. So
Right. Exactly. It's been enforced upon us, but it's a good thing. You know, we look at all the things that are going around the world. You know, the skies in China are clear, the canals in Venice are clear. Maybe we need this break.
I think it's going to be an eye opener. Well, it was certainly great speaking with you, Dr. Lovelle. Very comforting to know that you are here and taking care of Raleigh. Thank you very much.
You.
And with your permission, we'll check in with you in a few days or a week and just latch on to your wisdom and strength another time, if that's okay.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. And Raleigh, this is Robert Courts with Your Backyard, reminding you everything you need is right here in Raleigh. Please shop local, support local, especially at this time. And if you have any concerns or you want to learn more about Dr. Lovelle's Immune Boost, please check it out and come back and see us again. Thank you.
You.